So same thing as Dave, if you could just introduce yourself to me, so if you could say your name, position, club.
Matt Banahan, Bath Rugby on the wing.
Okay, do you play centre?
I can play centre, yeah. I can play 12 or 13.
Okay, so that's what we're going to centre on today.
Yeah.
What is your job as a centre?
Centre is sort of, you're the middleman between when the ball gets distributed from the forwards to the half-backs to get it to the wings, either by getting over the game line to create fast balls so we can attack the space on the outside, or by passing it yourselves. And that's you're that link man between the half-backs and your finishers on the outside.
Okay, how much communication is between the 12 and the 13?
Massive nowadays, because you're so interlinked that you've got to be able to play both left and right side of the park, pass off both right and left. So a lot of teams will try and split their centres as soon as after first or second phase, so you can attack both sides of the ruck. And by doing this, it puts more stress on the defence, which therefore will give you more opportunities to score points.
Okay, what is the actual difference between 12 and 13, so the inside and the outside centre?
I think if you're going to put anything on sort of the table, say your 12s, it depends what sort of coach you are. Sometimes, majority of the time, 12's a carrier and 13's a pace man on the outside, or you'll have a ball player at 10 and 12 and a heavy carrier at 13. If you look at a team, say like Leicester, who have Toby Flood, Brad Barrett and then Manu Tuolagi at 13, so they've got the ball playing 10-12 with a carry at 13, and then you look at us, if you play George Ford, Kyle and JJ with the outside, and then you look at people like New Zealand who would play Dan Carter at 10 but Mar Nonu at 12 and Conrad Smith at 13, so it's different linked. It's whatever the coach's philosophy is. If they want a gasman on the outside at 13 or inside ball player, it's the way the game goes. It's a game of chess. It's how you play it against different teams.
Do you have a preference of 12 or 13?
I don't actually. If anything, I prefer 13 because, like I said, I came into the game playing on the wing, so you get a bit more space at 13. I think it's harder in defence at 13 because at 12, you know, you've got to defend on your right and left when you're going up. At 13, you know you've got your 12, but your winger could be hanging back, so it puts a lot of stress on you. So you've got to make the right decision at the right time.
Okay. What are the key attributes then you need to play centre as a general? So you need this.
I think you need your core skills, your running, passing, kicking, catching, and if you want to be slightly different, you've got to have good footwork, good speed, and sort of good sense of direction, like communication. Like you said before, communication is a massive key now. You can have all the attributes, but at centre, if you don't put yourself in the position to make other people look good as well, you can get very lost in games. So you've got to be very vocal, as well as like a second captain or a sort of commander telling people where they need to go.
Okay. How do you play against physically smaller people? People come to mind sort of like Mark Quato, yourself, you've got 7 inches in height and 20 kilos in weight.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like I said, rugby's built in different shapes and sizes, and as much as they will think about me coming at them being so big, I'm thinking about them because they'll have attributes that are better than me. Majority of the time, people who are smaller have good footwork, but not the body weight. So in defence, I need to put them in a corner where I can then go get them. When we talk about it, like don't let them get past your inside shoulder in defence and chop them down and then use your physicality. In defence, I don't want to run straight at them because you're giving them the easiest tackle. You want to try and get away from them as far as you can, which will make it harder for them to tackle because they won't have any body weight against you.
Okay, let's move on then to the training. How do you train as a centre? Is it?
Majority of the time now, 12 and 13s will train with the wingers. So we'll do a lot of speed work, a lot of power work, because you want to be sharp and sharp, explosive in all these actions that you do in the game. But as well, more so the 12 and 13 have to practice a lot the passing and kicking under pressure, because if the 12's under pressure, you're the next bailout to go out. So more so on your core skills for the 12 and 13 has to be up to or near enough the same level as your 10 as well.
Okay, opposite that, so what is your diet like? How many calories and sort of portions would you consume then?
Me personally, I'm a very sort of odd eater. Like I sometimes won't eat until mid to early afternoon. There's no structure to my eating pattern, so I think that's the weakest part of me personally. If I got my diet on a good constant plane, that I'd be in a good physical position, because you're always looking to strive and gain in your sport, and I think that's the next thing for me is to put this in place. But Like I said, we eat a lot of calories, and it goes, whatever we put in gets burnt straight back out. So it's about putting the right stuff in.
And then, sort of, as a centre, how does your injury prevention differ to say one of the forwards? Obviously you've got a combination of power and speed, obviously in the Neverton equivalent.
Yeah, all the boys have different stuff they like to work on. So some boys who have had shoulder problems like to work on their shoulders. Myself personally, I like to work on my hamstrings just by doing stretch routines. We've got a hamstring group here. Twice a week we do extensive stretches because I don't want my hamstrings to tear, so I don't want them to be overly tight. So I've got to keep them stretched and loose and relaxed, so when I come into games that I feel as good as I can. So for me it's my hamstrings I keep working on.
Okay, last couple of questions. How important is a warm-up to a player?
I think every player is different. For me, warming up, I like to know that my body's moving well. Some people like the warm-up to get them mentally ready, and some people just want to get out there and get it done. Everybody's individual. I'm quite a relaxed player the whole time. I could walk onto a pitch and play, but I just want to keep my body moving. I can talk to you throughout the warm-up, but for me, it is, every individual's different, but I'm one of those relaxed people that my job's just, I've got to go there and I know my job and I can go and do it.
Okay. Who do you think is the best centre in the world and why?
At the moment, you've got to look at people who are on form. Like obviously, Matt Gitto's playing outstanding at the moment for Toulon, and he's sort of been reborn again. I'm just trying to think who's standing out. It's one of those. If you're looking at centres who are consistently performing well, you've always got to look at the Kiwis. And Marnonu, Conrad Smith, Sonny Bill, when they're all there, that they're all interchanging, but they're all still performing at the best level, and they're what everybody's thriving to be because they're world champions, and with their performances it's showing it.
Okay, last question. Obviously you're a big man, but you are, you say, a centre and a winger, so how quickly can you run the 100 metres?
Well, I haven't been timed over 100, but I think it was in my when I was timed, I think it'd be low 11s back in the day. Not as fast as that now. Getting old.
Brilliant, man. Thank you very much.